that brings up one last question. Well, two things. One is the ask you talk about is like how much like knowing that this is going on right here and the unemployment center, did Forest City come to you at all, or you had to go to them? And then that also brings up the idea of like the traffic and the scale of the thing, as well. Like, because I had to drive my baby to daycare today. I couldn't cross Atlantic Avenue. Back at Washington, the traffic was backed up to Classen. And I don't even know, maybe there was construction, maybe there was a wreck, but this is before anything's going on. So I just have to think, Atlantic and Flatbush are already parking lots. So it's just like, that's a hard thing to figure out, Like how it's going to also impact the ability of the community to exist,
Well, Forest Radney actually did come to me. They have an individual working for them named Brando Torre.
Mm-hmm.
And way before I had started going into I was gonna speak to him, Randall came to me. Randall knew me from working with he worked for Assemblyman Roger Green. And when Randall had, I guess, moved on in his job and he was working for Radney, one day I got a call. And it was Randall. I didn't even know he was working for him. And he said, I would like to talk to you to make sure that people get employment in this process, because we want to make sure. I hear you talking about the 78% unemployment, and I want to make sure, along with Bruce and everybody here, that 78% unemployment is definitely dealt with. And I said, whoa, that's deep, because I didn't expect it. Because of my past experiences, right. I didn't expect that, and it was different to me. And since then, I actually have been talking to Randall. Even when I left Build, they still said, "Listen, you're leaving Build. We're dealing with Build. You brought Build to us. We're dealing with Build for the community benefit agreement. Your dream of the community benefit agreement is still gonna go forward." And he said, well, don't put yourself out the process. What are you going to do? I said, strictly, I'm going to deal with jobs. He said, okay, if you want to deal with jobs, let us know what we need to do. And they still said that they're going to work with me, with the jobs and training and other things. And they're always calling. They're always getting in contact and saying, what do we need to do? And my thing right now is project labor agreement. Y'all need to talk with them as the developers. You need to talk to the unions and tell the unions that they need to sign a project labor agreement. Because if the unions don't sign a project labor agreement, my thing is that down here, as we've been talking to people, if the unions don't sign a project labor agreement, we need to get out and say, why is this being built then? It can't affect none of the employment. The traffic is crazy. There's a lot of things that's going to go on in this community that this community will suffer because of the project. The only benefit in this project is the people that are poor, people who don't have money to take care of their families will be able to do that. As far as the scale of the project, I'm really not a guy that understands the scale in terms of how big it's going to be, what it's going to do to the community in terms of, because I hear a lot of people talk about it's like dropping another community inside the community. I hear people talking about stuff like that. And I understand in a certain way because I live in the developments, and I understand once you leave outside the perimeters of this development, it's like people are completely different. People act a certain way inside of here. I don't know if it's because of a stigma. I don't know what it is. And people act a certain way even if they hear that you live here. People act a certain way too. So I understand what it means to drop development or a different community inside of a community, because it changes the dynamics of that community, and I understand that. But in terms of this community, I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's a bad thing, because I don't know, because really the area where it's primarily being set, there's a housing development directly across the street from it. There's some new housing, 3-family housing directly across the street from it. And back of it, there's brownstones, there's people's businesses, and will it change the dynamics of how things? I don't know for sure how much, but I'm sure it will. And I know that it will bring other different types of business. And when you bring 4,500 units of housing, just to give you an example of that, Ingersoll, Whitman, in Farragut, that's 3 housing developments. It's about 4,500 units of housing. So you're talking about dropping all of the projects of Ingersoll and Whitman and the projects of Farragut over on Atlantic Avenue. So I just put that out there, and then you tell me if it'll change the dynamics of the community. As far as the size of the arena, I know I went over to Jersey to see the Nets. I always go see the Nets because I like the Nets. And it was a small arena, and I really was kind of nervous because it was on the slope, and I'm afraid of height. And I go to Madison Square Garden because, again, I like the Knicks. And the arena is better because it's spacious, and I just like the space. And I'm gonna say this: if the arena is gonna come and it's not gonna have enough space for people to walk safely, because I felt real unsafe in the Nets arena in Jersey. Again, it could be because I'm afraid of heights, but inside the stadium in Manhattan, I felt a little bit better. Now, my fear might bring me to say I want it to be big, but that's for my personal interest. That's not for the interests of the community. For the interests of the community, I wouldn't want it to be overbearing for the community.
Have you seen any of Marshall Brown's plans at all? Or
no, I haven't. Yeah. I haven't.
Have you talked to Tish about them at all or anything?
Yeah, I will be talking to Tish about a lot of things connected with this development, because what I want to do with Tish and everybody else is really get a lot of people who are knowledgeable of this together, a lot of people from both sides, a lot of people who could sit down together and come up with something that's good, because I think even with the battle with this side and Ratner's side, I think there needs to be a meeting where people sit down and come up with a solution, so this could work out for people who need jobs, so this could work out for people who don't want their community to change, so this could work out for people who want to stay in their housing. I think that a situation like this, when you're spending $2.5 billion, I think that's enough money to make a situation look exactly like you want it to look, and satisfy the people of the community at the same time. I think that there's people in this community and been in this community for years. I'm pretty sure there's probably about 30, 40 architects that live in this community. There's probably crazy lawyers that live in this community. There's probably all kinds of people of culture and everything else that live in this community. And I'm pretty sure that they have enough brain power to sit down and come up with solutions to everybody's particular problem. And I think it should be able to work out for everybody. I haven't seen situations where it doesn't work out for everybody, except when there has been dictators. Then it only works out for them.
Right now. Awesome.
That's definitely something to look at. You talk about 1,000 jobs over 15 years. And somebody's going out and saying 15,000 jobs. That's something that I really need to, because I'm going to tell you, and it's good that you said that, because everybody goes and they hear statistics, and it includes myself. I heard that statistic, and it never came to my mind to really question that statistic. You just brought something even to me, and I'm into this kind of deep. And to say that there's only 1,000 jobs, and that's deep. You don't know how deep that is, because that's really, what is 1,000 jobs going to actually do in terms of construction for this area? How many people can I put in apprenticeship programs where you have to have skilled people working, and most of the people down here are unskilled. You opened up some questions for me to ask.
Yeah. Well, that's just from the press release that Develop Don't Destroy put out. That same day after the rally, they were handing it out. And
Okay.
And you should talk to Dan Goldstein, and because he has a guy who's an economist who went through the Zimbalist report.
All right.
And was just tore it apart.
Okay.
Because the supposedly separate economist who looked at it who paid for the report, but Ratner. You always have to question somebody when it's paid for it. It's like that's like we should have questioned all the intelligence on Iraq since Bush was paying for it.
Right.
You're
100% correct.
That's why I didn't trust any of it then. Now it's all coming out.
Well, at this time, and that's one of the things that I always fear, being given misinformation, because I'm in a position that a lot of people in this area knows what I do, because I did this since I was 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the industry of trying to get people jobs, and to tell me something that will mislead me, and then for me to go back and to tell things to other people, and for me to mislead other people, it would undercut my ability to really help my community. And that's what I try not to let happen, because if something's going to change and if you're going to help your people got to trust you, and they can't feel that you're telling them lies. Mm-hmm. So information is given to me. I always ask the people, don't give me nothing that's false, because if I take it back to my people and I find out that it's a lie, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to tell them that you lied to me. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start galvanizing the community to come against the liar.
But the truth of what they're going to say is, well, that 15,000 jobs isn't a lie. That's the way it's written. That's the way an economist would talk about it, because that's what it is to them. It's 15 years of 1,000 jobs. It's 15,000 jobs. It's 15,000 job years.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I always say to people, and this is a phrase I always do, keep it simple, stupid. Don't try to give me no brain science stuff. Give me something real simple. Keep it simple. I got 1,000 jobs that people gonna work for 15 years. That's what I have to offer your community. Out of that 1,000 jobs, a certain amount is gonna be union, for sure. So out of that, if your community gets 10%, they're only getting 100 jobs. So that's what I actually have to offer your community, 100 jobs. I prefer for somebody to say that than to come to me and try to make me think that they're going to help me in some big way. Because even if that's true, and I see the unemployment, and that 100 will do a substantial good for it, at least I'm able to go to the people and say, we have 100 jobs here we can fight for. We have 100 jobs here that we could stand up and say we need these jobs. Or we have 100 jobs that's not going to do anything significant in terms of denting the unemployment in our community, versus we have all this traffic, we have all this other stuff that's going to be happening in our community, and you could allow the people to weigh it for themselves and say what you want to do. But don't feed them that there's going to be a whole lot of jobs, and there's not. But I'm glad you brought that up, because you definitely gave me something to take to the next time that I meet with anybody from Ratner's.